everybody. Welcome to week 2. Congratulations on all of the great work that you did in week 1. I've really enjoyed reading your writing on Piazza and in Zaption and getting email from you. So please continue to stay in touch. Here I am back in my office at UCSD. As I said, I look forward to hearing where you are as you participate in CAT125R. One of the things I'd like to do with the introduction to this unit, Unit 2, which is on facilitating meaningful feedback, is think a little bit about how we might think about rhetoric. This is a course in public rhetoric and practical communication that focuses on digital rhetoric. So I thought it might be useful to come back to one of the researchers that we're looking at in this unit, Andrea Lunsford from Stanford. She says that rhetoric is the art, practice, and study of human-computer communication. So you might want to think about the ways that we'll be talking about the art of communication, the practice of communication, and the study of communication in the coming weeks. Another rhetorician that might be interesting to think about when you're thinking about how to define rhetoric is Lloyd Bitzer, who we'll be talking about in an upcoming unit. He says that rhetoric is a mode of altering reality, not by the direct application of energy to objects, but by the creation of discourse, which changes reality through the mediation of thought and action. So we'll be talking about some ways that you can change your reality through the kinds of communicative acts that you participate in. So one of the first assignments that you did for this course is your critical selfies, which were fantastic. I really enjoyed reading all your commentary. I thought you made a lot of really nuanced arguments in a very short space. And you can sort of think about what you did with the critical selfie in terms of something that you might have encountered before, the idea of the rhetorical triangle. So when we talk about the rhetorical triangle, we're interested in how a particular kind of rhetorical act is produced. So that might be a speech in some cases, it might be a website. In the case of the first substantive assignment, it's going to be your personal statement. So some sort of product or artifact or act or experience that's created in a rhetorical situation. You also have a speaker or a designer, or we can use the word rhetor, who creates that product or artifact or text. And then we also have an audience to consider when we're thinking about the rhetorical triangle. And on one side, we might be interested in the intentions or choices that the rhetor makes. And on the other side, we might be thinking about the expectations that the audience might be experiencing. So in the case of the critical selfie, the artifact that you're producing is the 4 selfies and your commentary upon them. But you as the rhetor are mindful of the fact that there's an audience that you're speaking to in the context of Piazza. And that audience includes your peers, it includes your TAs, it includes me, your professor, but that audience also includes yourself. I noticed that many of you actually went back in and edited your selfie. So clearly you were reading it and thinking about it and starting to contemplate what it means to participate in the revision process that will be so important for this course. Now the purpose of the selfie assignment is to create dialogue, to build community, and also to model feedback. Now, in online environments, you might see a lot of different kinds of feedback systems. Those feedback systems are often oriented around what we might call evaluative feedback. So you give something a certain number of stars, you like something on Facebook, you favorite something on Twitter. So that's an evaluation. You're saying this is really a good quality piece of communication. But what we're interested in encouraging most in CAT125R is facilitative feedback. Feedback that actually helps the rhetor revise and feel like an active participant, feel the desire to do more writing, creating, or composing. So one of the things that I thought was really great about the selfie assignment is how many of you provided facilitated feedback. Feedback that was really designed to encourage more activity on Piazza, so that you were really creating a community there where people really wanted to post content and comment on each other's content. I was impressed that half of you looked at, so most of the selfies were actually viewed by half the class. So that means that a lot of you were looking at each other's work, which is fantastic, which is really great. And I would encourage you to look at as many samples of student work that are available on Piazza as possible and be an active commenter. In this unit on facilitating effective and meaningful feedback, we also will listen to commentary from a world-renowned researcher named Mimi Ito, who's at the University of California, Irvine. And Ito studies affinity groups as communities of practice. So she studies these online groups where people come together and thinks about the ways that they sort of learn to refine their craft and support each other in their different kinds of rhetorical activities. Now, developing a good community of practice will be important for the personal statement assignment, where you're going to have to think about writing a personal statement of 5,300 to 5,500 characters, which is aimed at a particular audience, such as graduate school, professional school, or scholarship organization. You want to make sure to keep your statement general enough that it could be reused for more than one type of addressee. Your personal statement should have a clearly articulated and lively introduction and conclusion, a linear structure that connects your paragraphs together in a logical order, a coherent focus that develops a particular theme, and concrete details to support the portrait of yourself that you're describing. In general, you should show the reader rather than tell the reader by analyzing specific examples and salient evidence. So in that personal statement assignment, we really want you to be mindful of the rhetorical triangle, right? We want you to think about how you're presenting yourself as a rhetor. We want you to think about the artifact or text that you're creating, the message that you're sending in your personal statement assignment. We want you to be mindful of questions about audience. In order to help you do that, we actually have two short Piazza assignments, one about what you learned outside of college and what you learned inside of college to help you start thinking about this narrative. I look forward to helping you this week as we look at Module 2 and consider how to create meaningful feedback in our community of practice, and I hope you have a great week.